The rain was steady that night, the kind of rain that makes the world feel smaller. The droplets tapped against the window beside my bed like an impatient visitor, but I wasn't sleeping. Not really. I could hear them through the wall, Tori and Jaden. She had brought him over again. No warning. Just one of those texts, "Jaden's crashing here tonight, FY." That was Tori's way. Loud, direct, and a little careless. We had only been roommates for 3 months, and in that time, I had learned more about her relationship than I ever wanted to. The walls between our rooms weren't soundproof, not even close. And tonight, they were filled with everything I tried to avoid. It started with laughter. The kind of laughter that sounds forced, like someone trying too hard. Then a thump, maybe her throwing a pillow or collapsing dramatically onto the bed. Then silence. Then more laughter. I tried to drown it out with my pillow. But what followed wasn't what I expected. It wasn't passion or moaning or even messy make-out sounds. It was frustration. Seriously. Again. I heard Tori's voice, irritated and sharp. "You're kidding me." Then Jaden, "I don't know, okay? It's not like I'm doing it on purpose." Another pause. Then a long, low sigh from Tori. "I can't. I'm not in the mood to deal with this tonight." A door opened. Her footsteps down the hall, then the bathroom door shutting. Water began to run. I sat up slightly, pulling my covers around me. That was new. Usually, I had to turn the fan on to avoid the usual noisy session. But this felt different. Then came the part one still question. Jaden didn't follow her to the bathroom. He stayed in her room. Just lying there, probably shirtless, frustrated, humiliated, and alone. I tried not to imagine him. But I did. A few minutes later, I heard a faint shuffle in the hallway. I got up, quietly. My throat was dry, so I told myself I was just going to the kitchen for water. Nothing more. The apartment was dimly lit by the hallway bulb. As I turned the corner, I nearly walked straight into him. Jaden. He stood there in sweatpants and a wrinkled t-shirt, his hair messy, eyes wide when he saw me. "Sorry," he said, stepping back awkwardly. "It's okay," I said, my voice small. We just stood there for a moment, the sound of the shower filling the silence between us. "She's mad," he finally said, not even trying to pretend he didn't know I'd heard. "I heard," I admitted. He gave a bitter laugh, rubbing the back of his neck. "Did the whole building hear?" "Just this unit," I offered, trying to ease the tension. "I don't know what's wrong with me," he said, almost to himself. "It's like I try, but with her, it's just forced." I nodded slowly. I didn't say the thing I was thinking, that maybe it wasn't about her at all. He looked up at me then. Really looked. "You're always so quiet," he said. "I forget you're even here sometimes. Guess I'm good at staying out of the way. Maybe that's why I notice you more than I should." That made my stomach twist. I looked away, suddenly fascinated by the floor. "Tori's in the shower," I said, more as a fact than a warning. "I should go back," he said, but didn't move. I stepped past him toward the kitchen. He followed me, just a few steps, like he was being pulled. I grabbed a glass, filled it with water. I could feel his eyes on my back the entire time. "You seem different," he said, leaning against the doorway. "Different how?" "I don't know. Real." I turned to face him, glass in hand. The air between us was heavy. Not electric, not yet, but charged with something. "Maybe you just haven't been looking close enough," I said softly. He stared at me, his jaw clenched like he was holding back 100 things he wasn't supposed to say. Then, the bathroom door clicked open in the distance. We both froze. He stepped back, muttering something under his breath, and walked toward Tori's room. I watched his silhouette disappear down the hallway before I returned to mine. That night, I laid in bed with the glass still half full beside me. I didn't sleep, not because of the rain or the noise, but because I knew something had shifted. And once it shifts, it never really goes back. The next day passed without a word about what had happened in the hallway. Tori acted like nothing was off. She complained about her shampoo running out and gossiped on the phone with someone from work. Jaden didn't come back that night. But something told me it wasn't because of her. By the third evening, he returned. It was raining again, only lighter this time. Tori had ordered takeout and dragged Jaden into the living room with her. I stayed in my room, pretending to scroll on my phone, half listening. Their conversation was strained. She was trying too hard to act normal, and he wasn't trying at all. Around midnight, the apartment fell silent. I assumed they had gone to bed. I turned off the lights and curled up, not expecting anything else. Then there was a soft knock. At first, I thought I imagined it. But it came again. Quiet. Careful. Like whoever was knocking didn't actually want to wake me, just wanted to be let in, if I was already up. I opened the door. Jaden stood there, one hand resting on the frame. His expression was unreadable. Tired, maybe. Unsure. Sorry, he said. I couldn't sleep. I hesitated but stepped aside. He walked in slowly, looking around like he hadn't been in my room before, which, technically, he hadn't. You're brave, I said, closing the door behind him. I'm stupid, he replied. Tori's asleep. I didn't ask how he knew. I just sat back on the edge of my bed. He didn't sit at first. He stood there like he was weighing something invisible. Then he sank into the chair across from me, elbows on knees, head hanging low. I feel like a failure, he said. Not just the other night. Everything. I waited. She treats me like, I don't know. Like I'm only useful when I make her laugh or get things right. But I mess up, and she shuts me down. I try, and she rolls her eyes. His voice cracked a little, and I saw something in him I didn't expect, vulnerability. The kind that didn't feel rehearsed. She makes me feel small, he added, almost in a whisper. I stood up and walked over. I wasn't thinking about consequences or lines or rules. I was thinking about how it felt to be overlooked. And about the way he had looked at me in the hallway. And now. You're not small, I said, my voice quiet but sure. He looked up, his eyes meeting mine. There was something heavy between us. Unspoken but undeniable. His hand brushed mine. I didn't move away. He stood slowly, his face inches from mine now. His breath warm. His jaw tight again, but this time, for a different reason. When he leaned in, it wasn't forceful. It was hesitant. Like he was waiting for me to pull back. I didn't. The kiss wasn't perfect. It wasn't practiced or smooth. It was the kind of kiss that only happens when two people know they shouldn't, hungry, unsure, full of all the things they've been holding in. Then he stopped. I can't, he muttered. I didn't ask why. I knew. He sat back down again, frustrated. I wanted to try again. I thought maybe it would be different. With me? I asked softly. He nodded. There was a silence so thick it felt like a blanket over the room. Then he stood up again, slower this time. I stayed where I was, heart racing but still. He came closer, resting his hands on either side of me, not touching, just close. His forehead nearly touched mine. Maybe it's not physical, I whispered. Maybe it's everything else. He let out a breath. With you. I don't feel like I have to prove anything. His hand touched my cheek, and I leaned into it, just barely. But we didn't go further. Not that night. We stayed there for a few more minutes, suspended in that almost place. A place where everything could happen, but hadn't. Not quite. Then, from down the hallway, we both heard a sound, Tori shifting in her bed or getting up to use the bathroom. We pulled away like magnets flipped the wrong way. I should go, he said. I nodded. He slipped out, and I closed the door behind him, my back pressed against it like I could keep the moment sealed in if I held still long enough. I didn't sleep again. And this time, I didn't even try to. The morning after, sunlight broke through the blinds like it didn't know what happened the night before. Like it didn't care. I sat at the kitchen table, staring into a bowl of cereal I wasn't eating, waiting for something. Anything. Tori walked in wearing Jaden's hoodie. God, I slept like a rock, she said, yawning dramatically. Didn't even hear Jay leave. I didn't flinch. Just nodded and mumbled something about being tired too. She opened the fridge, pulled out orange juice, then started scrolling her phone like the night hadn't been crawling with tension. Like she wasn't in the next room while her boyfriend almost broke every boundary with her roommate. He was being weird again, she added, casually. Moody. Like something's eating at him, but he won't say. I swallowed. Maybe he's just tired of pretending. She blinked. Pretending what? I shrugged. You'd have to ask him. She raised an eyebrow but didn't press. Tori rarely pushed past sarcasm unless something directly inconvenienced her. And this was beneath her radar. By noon, Jaden still hadn't texted her. She muttered something about how guys always act up when they know they're replaceable and locked herself in her room. I heard the music come on, loud, deflective. Her way of distracting herself. I went for a walk. I needed air. Clarity. A reset. But clarity didn't come. Jaden did. 3 days later, he showed up outside the bookstore where I worked. I spotted him through the glass before he walked in, hands shoved deep in his pockets, eyes scanning like he wasn't sure he should be here. Or if he even wanted to be seen. I met him outside. I didn't know where else to go, he said. I couldn't text you. I didn't know what to say. We stood by the bike racks, under a sky that was threatening rain again. I didn't say anything either, I admitted. I didn't even know what it meant. He looked at me for a long time. It meant something to me. I didn't respond. I couldn't. I've been thinking about that night, he continued. And the one before. It's like I got to breathe for the first time. Like, you saw me. Not the version Tori laughs at, or ignores when I mess up. Just me. I closed my eyes for a second. It was easier than holding his gaze. But it's wrong, I whispered. She's your girlfriend. Not anymore, he said. My head snapped up. She broke up with me. Yesterday. Said I was checked out. Said she could tell my mind was somewhere else. I looked away again. Jaden took a step closer. She wasn't wrong. The words floated in the air between us, sharp and heavy. I shook my head slowly. We didn't even do anything. Not really. But we almost did. And you let me. His voice wasn't accusing, just honest. I wanted to, I admitted. And I hated that I did. He reached for my hand, but I stepped back. Jaden, I said, quietly but firmly. If this starts here, like this, it'll always be tied to guilt. You'll look at me and think about what we did to her. He nodded slowly, pain flickering in his eyes. I get it. We didn't say goodbye. He just turned and walked away. No promises. No drama. Just distance. That night, I came home to find Tori's door wide open. Her side of the closet was already half empty. Going somewhere? I asked, standing in the doorway. She didn't even look up from her suitcase. Moving in with my sister. Lease ends next month anyway. Oh, was all I managed. She finally glanced at me. You know, I don't care that he left. But I hope he didn't leave for something else. I didn't respond. Because I didn't want to lie, and I didn't want to confess. She zipped the suitcase and stood up. I liked you, Lena. You were always the quiet one. The safe one. The words stung more than they should have. I still am, I said, almost like a defense. She gave a short, dry laugh. Nobody's safe. Not really. She left the next morning. And Jaden. I haven't seen him since that day outside the bookstore. No texts. No calls. Just silence. But sometimes, when it rains, I still hear that knock. And I still remember that I didn't shut the door.